Hello everybody, welcome back or welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this beanie. This beanie is going to be made with repeat rounds, so everything we do for the first few rounds is going to be the exact same thing that we do throughout. So for this pattern, I used a category 5 yarn. You can use whatever category you prefer. This is a little bulkier than I usually use, but I think it turned out really nice and warm. So again, I used a category 5 yarn. I also used a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, but feel free to use whichever hook size comes with your yarn. And then I also used a pair of scissors and a darning needle. The darning needle is optional, but it does make the end sewing and cinching a lot easier. So if you have one, feel free to use one, but if not, you can always just use your hook. Anyway, now that that's all out of the way, let's go ahead and begin. To start off, we're going to go ahead and make a slip knot. And then we're going to grab our hook. Again, I'm using a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. And we're going to make a chain. Our chain length is going to be the length of our beanie. So from the very top to the very bottom, that's going to be our chain length. And if you're doing a beanie that has a fold up from the bottom, make sure to count for that too. So I'm going to go ahead and make my chain length. Feel free to pause the video and I will go ahead and meet you once I'm done. Okay, I just made a chain. My chain length is 28. And once you have your own chain length, go ahead and chain 2 extra. And then now we're going to go ahead and start with half double crochet stitches. So we're going to make our first half double crochet in the third loop from the hook. So we're going to skip the first chain, the second chain, and we're going to insert our hook into the third chain. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to insert our hook into the third chain, we're going to grab yarn, pull through that chain loop, giving us 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to grab yarn, and we're going to pull through all 3 of them to make a half double crochet. I'll show you again. In the next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet again. We're going to yarn over, we're going to insert our hook into the next chain space, grab yarn, pull through. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to grab yarn and pull through all 3. Okay, one more time. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the very next stitch, grab yarn, pull up. We have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. And we're going to keep doing half double crochets until we get to the very end, leaving a stitch count of 5 chains. So we're going to keep doing our half double crochet stitches until we have 5 chains left. And then we're going to do something a little different. Okay, so feel free to pause the video and continue with your half double crochet stitches, and I will meet you once I get to that point. Okay, I've just done my half double crochet stitches, and I'm left with 5 chains at the very end. Into those 5 chains, I'm just going to do a single crochet stitch. So we're going to insert our hook into the very next chain, grab yarn, pull up. We have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through both of them. Okay, into the next stitch, insert your hook, grab yarn, pull through. We have 2 loops on our hook, yarn over, we're going to pull through both of them. Okay, and we're just going to do a single crochet stitch into the last 5 of our chain spaces. And then there we have our round number 1 complete. And we're going to go ahead and finish this off with a chain. So yarn over, pull through for a chain. We're going to turn our work around and we're going to go ahead and start round number 2. So for row number 2, we are going to be working into the back loops only. So since we did 5 single crochets on the row prior to this, we are now going to begin with 5 single crochets. So wherever we have our single crochet stitches, we're going to be putting more single crochet stitches, and wherever we have our half double crochet stitches, that's where we're going to be placing our half double crochet stitches. These set of 5 single crochets are going to be at the very top of our beanie. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin row number 2. We just finished off with a chain, and now we're going to go ahead and work into the back loops only. So since this is a single crochet in the prior row, we're going to begin with a single crochet. So we're going to insert our hook into the back loop only, skip the chain, find your first stitch. Into that first stitch, insert your hook into the back loop only, yarn over, pull through, and do a single crochet as normal. And then do the same thing for the next 4 stitches. Do a single crochet in the back loop only. That's 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to do back loop half double crochets. So we've just done our 5 single crochet stitches. Now we're at our half double crochet portion, and we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're doing half double crochets into the back loop. So go ahead and repeat your pattern for half double crochets until we get to the end of this row. Feel free to pause the video and I will go ahead and meet you when I'm done. We are at the very end of our row number 2. I'm just going to finish off with our last 2 half double crochet stitches in the back loop only. And we're going to finish this round by chaining 2. 1 and 2. So whenever we finish our round with a set of 5 single crochets, we're going to finish off with a chain 1. Every time we finish off with a half double crochet stitch, we're going to finish off with a chain 2. So I've just finished with a half double crochet, I chained 2, and now I'm going to turn my work around and we're going to go ahead and begin working row number 3. And again, we're going to be working into the back loops only from here on out. So I've just chained 2, so I'm going to put a half double crochet into my very first stitch in the back loop only. So I'm going to yarn over, into the back loop only, I'm going to do a half double crochet. And then I'm going to keep doing a half double crochet until I get to my last 5 single crochets, in which case I'm going to switch over from doing a half double crochet in the back loop only to a single crochet in the back loop only. I'm going to go ahead and do my half double crochets, and I will meet you when I get to the single crochet portion. Okay, I've just made it to the single crochet portion, and again, in the last 5 stitches, we're just going to do back loop single crochets. So go ahead and do your back loop single crochets. And once we get to the end of row number 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 1, because we ended with a single crochet, we're only going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work around. And now we're going to do a back loop single crochet in the first 5 stitches. That's 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do back loop half double crochet stitches for the rest of the row. Okay, go ahead and continue, and I will meet you once I get to the end of this row. Okay, I'm going to finish off with my last back loop half double crochet stitch, and then since I ended off with a half double crochet, I'm chaining 2. And I'm going to turn my work around. And I'm going to go ahead and show you this one last time for one last row, and then it's just going to be a repeat of the same thing over and over again until you get the length to wrap around your head comfortably for the beanie. So I'm going to go ahead and show you this last row. So we ended off with a chain 2 because we ended off with a half double crochet in the previous round. We're going to start off with a back loop half double crochet in each stitch until we get to the very last 5 stitches where we do our single crochets. So go ahead and do your half double crochets until you get to your single crochet stitches. When you finish your half double crochet portion, we're here at the single crochet portion. and we're just going to do back loop single crochets in the last 5 stitches. That's 3, 4, and 5. And because we ended off with a single crochet, we're gonna start with a chain 1. And now I'm just gonna loosen up my yarn and I'm gonna just verbally repeat the pattern. So we ended off here where our single crochet stitches are, which means we're gonna start off with a single chain and we're gonna do back loop single crochets in the first 5 stitches and then half double crochets for the rest of the row. And then we're gonna chain 2, do our half double crochets until we get here, and then do back loop single crochets. Chain 1, back loop single crochets, back loop half double crochets. Chain 2, back loop half double crochets, back loop single crochets, chain 1, and we're repeating that over and over and over again until again we get the length that wraps around our head comfortably. And I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the beanie off camera, and then when I come back I'll show you how to stitch both ends together and then finish off the top, and then we will have our full beanie ready. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here and I will meet you once I'm done. Okay, I'm back and I just finished the rest of my rows for my beanie. This is how it looks like so far. This part is going to be the bottom half of the beanie, and the one that's a little bit more scrunched in where we did our single crochet stitches is going to be the top of our beanie. And now what we're going to do is we are going to stitch both ends together to close off our beanie, and then we are going to go ahead and stitch the top so that it cinches in at the top. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on. So I ended off on the single crochet area, so I'm going to finish off with a chain 1. Since this is our last row, for either end of our row we're going to end off with a chain 1 because now we're going to stitch both sides together. So go ahead and do your 1 chain, and now we're going to go ahead and stitch both sides together. To begin, this is where I ended off. I just removed my hook and I loosened up my yarn a bit. I'm just going to fold my work in half, and then I'm going to reattach my yarn to my work. And now we're going to go ahead and do slip stitches across to stitch both sides together. So again, this is the part where my yarn is attached, and then the opposite end is where we started off. And what we're going to do is, let me just go ahead and zoom in really quick. What we're going to do is we are going to do slip stitches in the back loop only on both sides of our beanie. So on the side where our yarn is attached, I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of my very first stitch, skipping the chain 1 space. So I've inserted it into the back loop, and then I'm going to go on the opposite side of my beanie, find my very first stitch, making sure it's not the knot in the beginning but the actual first stitch, and I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of that stitch, like so. And then I'm just going to go ahead and grab my yarn, and I'm going to pull through both of those back loop stitches, like so. I have 2 loops on my hook. We're not going to yarn over. Instead, we're going to take the yarn that we just pulled through, and we're going to pull it through the first loop on our hook to make a slip stitch. So we're basically doing slip stitches all the way to the very end in our back loop stitches. So again, I'm going to go through the back loop of my very next stitch, and then I'm going to go through the back loop of the second stitch on the opposite side, and then I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through all of the loops on my hook. Okay, so we're doing back loop slip stitches. Go ahead and do this until you get to the very end. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest off camera. Feel free to pause the video and I will go ahead and meet you once I'm done. Okay, I have just one more slip stitch left to do. Again, keeping it in the back loop only. And then to finish off, I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to grab my scissors and then snip off a small piece. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and snip off some yarn after I've chained 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull that yarn through. And now we have the side of our beanie stitched. And now we're going to work on cinching the very top of our beanie. So what I've done is I've cut up a small strand of yarn, about maybe 2-ish feet long, and we're gonna go ahead and use this to sew in the top. I'm gonna be using a needle, but if you don't have one, you can use your hook. Either way works. So what we're gonna do is we are going to go ahead and bring our yarn through one of the stitches at the very top of our beanie, which again is going to be in the place where we did our single crochet stitches. So the top part is a little bit more cinched than the bottom, which is how you can know the difference. We're going to be placing our yarn through the top part here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my yarn through a loop from the top of our working piece, and I'm just going to go ahead and bring this needle back and forth through the stitches. So you're going to go ahead and just weave it in back and forth all the way around until you get to the very end. Just back and forth, weaving it in like so, until you get to the very beginning of where you started weaving in, and then you're just going to go ahead and pull on your yarn, and the top part should close, and you might still have a little bit of a gap, which we will work with in just a moment, but go ahead and pull until it is very much scrunched up. And if you want, you can go ahead and take both ends and knot them together once you have it as cinched up as you can. I'm going to go ahead and knot both ends. I'm just going to do a very quick double knot, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the yarn once again, because I still have a little bit of a gap here. And if you don't, that's great. You can just finish off here and then weave in your ends. But if you do still have that gap, especially if you're using a thicker yarn, you can attach your yarn to your needle again, the same yarn that's attached to our working part already, the one that we just did a double knot for. And what you can do is you can take your needle and you can bring it in off to the side, like so. And then you can weave it in side to side. So instead of going around, you're just going to go back and forth side to side to weave in the hole that is in the middle here. I'm going to take my yarn, bring it through, or excuse me, I'm going to take my hook, bring it through my yarn, and I'm just going to go through back and forth. Like so. I'm going to do that a couple of times. Once you think it's weaved in enough, all you have to do is go through your yarn one more time, pull your needle through, and then you're just going to bring your yarn through the loop that your yarn made. And again, I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to go through my yarn like so. Don't pull through all the way. I'm going to bring my needle through the loop my yarn makes, then I'm going to pull through. And then the rest I'm just going to tuck in into the rows of yarn. So I'm not going to tuck in this entire strand of yarn. You don't have to tuck in the entire thing. You just need to do a little bit to make sure that your work is nice and fastened. So, because you don't want to be cutting so close to where you've finished off. So I'm just going to go ahead, and my yarn is right here. It's attached to this part. So what I'm going to do is through the stitches that are right next to that area, I'm just going to go through them. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to go through the upper parts of the loops, meaning I'm not going to push my needle through all the way down so that the yarn shows on the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and go through a couple of the top loops that I see, like so. I'm just pushing through the top loops. I'm going to do that a handful of times. Just the top loops of our stitches. And when you think it's fastened off enough, I'm just going to do it a couple times. I'm just going to snip off the excess yarn. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other end of my yarn that I have. Okay, I did the same thing to the other side. I'm also going to do it to the other strands of yarn that I have that are loose. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck in all the excess strands of yarn that I have off camera. And once I have all the excess yarn tucked away, what we're going to do is we're going to flip this inside out. So we did our slip stitches on the side to put the piece together, and then we just cinched in the top. And now we're going to go ahead and flip this the other way so that the nicer part is facing us. And there you have your beanie. Just going to go ahead and fluff it up a little. There we go. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for anything you want to see next, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will do my best to make the video as soon as I can. And if you have any suggestions for anything that I can improve in my way of teaching or my way of crocheting, please let me know that as well, because I do want to improve. I want to make sure that the way that I'm teaching is actually working for everybody. So let me know that as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!